So welcome to day 3 of Cheetah Week. So this is our second to last week. Next week is it, which is kind of sad. But this week we're learning all about cheetahs, which is super fun. So I'm gonna read a story that gets some of our vocabulary going on. And it's not from our book, but it does have the same vocabulary inside. Cheetahs are land mammals. They're part of the same family as lions, tigers, and pet cats that people may have at home today. Cheetahs are very special animals because they are the fastest animals on land. Their speed is what helps them to be such a great predator. In the savannah, cheetahs are able to hide in tall grass as it waits for a meal. The markings on a cheetah act like camouflage in the grass so that the prey cannot see it. Once it spots a meal, it will move so slowly so it can get close. Then the cheetah will strike. The animal may try to run, but the speed of the cheetah helps it get its target. The main diet of a cheetah includes gazelles, antelopes, hares, and impalas. Because they only eat meat, cheetahs are called carnivores. When female cheetahs have babies, they will usually give birth to 2 to 6 cubs at one time. She will take care of them by giving them milk, and when they're older, bringing them food until they can hunt on their own. Like other big cats, cheetah cubs learn important skills by playing. What may look like a silly game between brothers and sisters is actually a way for them to safely practice hunting. Once they get to be almost 2 years old, their mother leaves them and the cubs help each other to get their food. So we know that cheetahs are carnivores because they only eat meat. If you think back to our turtle week, turtles are omnivores because they eat meat and vegetables. We, humans, mostly are omnivores. I know I'm an omnivore. I eat meat, but I also eat plants as well. So those are different options. You might also think some animals are herbivores, and some humans are herbivores because they only eat plants, like a vegetarian. So very interesting, and we're going to talk today about the parts of our cheetah. So we're going to look in our table of contents to see where do you think the parts of the cheetah would be to tell us where its body parts are. Can you find the page number that you think will tell us all about the cheetah's parts? I'm just gonna check on my puppy one more time. Okay, sorry, she's being a little naughty today. So, if I take a look, it's a cheetah, I don't think so on page 4. Spotting cheetahs, maybe on page 6, no. Safari Speedster, page 8, no, that's about how fast it was. Great Hunters, maybe page 10. It looks like on page 10, it's going to be our best page to tell us all about the cheetah's parts. So the first one we're going to talk about are the tear marks. So tear marks are what makes a cheetah very different than other big cats, and it will help you tell the difference between a cheetah versus a leopard. So the tear marks go from their eye down to their mouth. So I'm going to put the tear marks, I have a magnet in the way, up here. My puppy is just going nuts. Hold on 1 second. Okay. So the tear marks we put up at the top because that helps you determine if they have that stripe that goes from their eye to their mouth. That tells you that it's a cheetah. Next we have their spots. A cheetah's spots are very different. If you think about lions and tigers and other types of big cats, they all have different markings. And the cheetah's spots are all over their fur. their eyes are where the tear marks start on the top. So their eyes and their tear marks go together. A cheetah has a very long, skinny tail, and that tail helps them when they have to change direction really quickly, but it also helps them because it's not a very muscular, heavy tail. It's very light, so their tail is long and skinny. And their mouth is also at the front, and you know that their mouth is where their tear marks go, from eyes to mouth. They have bigger nostrils so that they can help with the breathing as well.
Hey, Gemma.
Hey, Gemma. Welcome.
Sorry, we're late.
Oh, no worries. All right, Gemma, we just started talking about the parts of the cheetah, okay? So I'm looking at page 10 in my cheetah book.
Okay.
Okay? All right, so we talked about their tear marks, Gemma, so far. And the tear marks go from their eyes all the way down. Let's see if I can bring this closer. Their tear marks go from their eyes all the way down to their mouth. And the tear marks are what help us to determine whether it's a cheetah, if it has that stripe that looks like a tear, like it's crying, and if it doesn't have that stripe, it's probably a leopard. Cheetahs have smaller heads, okay? They have very, very good vision. Cheetahs have to have the best vision because they have to be able to find their camouflaged prey. That's what they hunt. Remember, they don't eat plants like other omnivores. Cheetahs are carnivores, so they only eat meat. So they have to have very good vision to find all of the different little hairs or little animals that they're gonna hunt. Their mouth, okay, you can see their tear marks go from their eyes to their mouth. They have very special spots on their fur. And cheetahs are different than leopards because cheetahs have spots and that one stripe. Leopards don't have that. And we know they have a very long, skinny tail that helps when they have to change direction very, very quickly. So our cheetah here, you can see, has lots of different parts. And tomorrow we're going to, when we paint our rocks, do our very best, and we're gonna try to paint our cheetah spots onto our rocks, which is gonna be a little challenging, but hopefully we'll do a nice job, okay? Okay, so when we talk about our cheetahs, we also want to talk about yesterday's question. So I'm gonna pull up our journal real quick from yesterday. And yesterday's journal question was all about cheetahs. And on Monday we asked what we would pack. So we talked a little bit about that yesterday as well. And then we talked about maybe bug spray and sunblock and hats and sunglasses because it's gonna be so hot in the African savanna. But yesterday's question was, what other types of animals do you think are on an African savanna? What would you maybe see when you go on that trip? What other animals did you see in the book? Can you start at the beginning and page through and see if there's other animals other than cheetahs here? I know on page 6 there's one. What animal's on page 6? What's the other big cat that looks like a cheetah? Miracle?
Leopard.
Yeah, leopards would be on an African savanna. Very good. And if we keep paging. Now, this page is a little tricky because that greyhound dog, he's not there. But what else is on this page, Miracle?
On pages, there's this too.
Oh, okay.
Here.
What page are you on?
23.
23. Oh, that looks like a baby impala. Yep. A baby impala. That's what cheetahs hunt. Gemma, did you find another animal? What page are you on?
I'm on page 13.
Page 13. That one says, dun, dun, dun. They stalk their prey. That kind of looks like a baby impala also. Yeah. So we know that they eat hares. What's a hare? What type of animal is a hare? Like the tortoise and the hare. Is it hair like hair on your head? No, it's like a bunny, a bigger bunny. And they're pretty fast. So we know there's hares. I saw on page 8, there's a lion. I think we would see a lion on an African savanna, on a safari. Hi, Espianese.
What's this animal?
What page are you on?
23. What kind of animal is this?
The one on the bottom. That almost looks to me like a wombat. Yeah. And that one looks scary. If you look at that cheetah, it looks like it's hissing. So that might be an animal that they're scared of. It could actually be a predator to those baby cheetahs. Yeah. All right, let's see. Nothing on that page. Oh, there's some people that you might see on your savanna. Some humans. And I think that's all the animals from our pictures for the most part. If you think about it, on an African savanna, on a safari, you might actually see giraffes, you might see elephants, you might see alligators. A lot of different predators are there, and that's why cheetahs have such good body parts. Their eyes are so strong that they can see far away to see their prey. They're the fastest animals, so if they have to race another big animal for a prey, they're going to be the winner. So that's why they are built to be such fast runners. So cheetahs have special body parts to help them to do that, okay? What's the cheetah's biggest threat? Do you think other animals, or do you think humans? What do you think's the biggest threat to cheetahs? Why are their numbers going down? Why is there only like 12,000 left in the wild? Gemma?
Because other animals keep eating them?
It could be. Yeah, absolutely. Cheetahs are smaller, especially their cubs. So if the mom cheetah can't protect it, because moms tend to stay by themselves, boy cheetahs tend to live together. So a mom cheetah doesn't have anybody else to help protect. So if she has 6 babies and she has to protect them all by herself, that could be pretty hard. What's another reason that cheetahs might be getting threatened other than other animals? What do people do that makes it hard for cheetahs to live? You remember? So what happens is cheetahs need so much space to run around. And if they live near a big city and they're building lots of new buildings and homes and towns, and they're building out into the grasslands or the mountain areas that those cheetahs live, they don't have as much space to run and hunt. And if they don't have any animals to hunt, then that's when they sometimes have to either find a new area and fight for a new territory, or it might be a reason that they might not survive anymore if they don't have enough animals to eat. So we want to do our best to help cheetahs by not taking away their habitats. That's the best thing that humans can do to help keep them safe. Don't take away their habitats. Miracle?
I get confused when people say alligators and crocodiles.
Ooh, you know what? Next week's our lizard week, so maybe we'll have some of that in our book for next week. And if not, I'll try to find a way, I'll try to find good pictures that we can compare both of their parts. That's a good question, because this week, a lot of people have the same problem with leopards and cheetahs because they look so similar. So we will talk about that next week when we do our lizard week. Good question. I'll even write that down. What's the difference between alligators and crocodiles? All right, good one. Okay, So that's our cheetah book for today. Tomorrow we're going to want to have our book so that we can use it to help look at the spots when we paint our rocks, okay? Next we're going to talk about our math shape. So I'm going to put this off to the side. All right, and yesterday we talked about, let me grab my shapes, all sorts of different shapes. And the way we name our flat shapes, our polygons, is based off of their sides and their angles. So we know that this is a, what would you call this, Miracle? What shape?
Triangle.
Triangle. A triangle has 3 sides and 3 angles. What about, yes, Viennese, what would you call this shape?
A square.
It's a square. It's also called a quadrilateral because it has 4 sides, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 4 angles, okay? What about, Gemma, what would you call this shape?
A hexagon.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 sides makes it a hexagon. You're right, and it has 6 angles. The angles are where 2 sides touch. So it's always that corner point. That's called an angle. All right, let's go back to Miracle with this shape. Miracle, what would you call this? It's almost like a square. It actually looks like 2 squares together. So what would you call this 4-sided shape? It could start with an R, or it could start with a Q. Quad. It could be a quadrilateral, or, yes, Viennese, can you help her out? Gemma, do you know this one?
A rectangle.
Yeah, it's a rectangle or a quadrilateral. It could be either one. Good. Okay, I got 3 more. Back to you, Miracle. What would you call this one? How many sides?
3.
So a 3-sided shape is always called a... Could turn it. Very much like the first one we had. They're the same name. If I have 3, yeah, 3, your prefix for 3 is always tri, so this is a triangle. All right, Gemma. How many sides?
4.
4. This is called a trapezoid, but it's also called a quadrilateral, okay? Trapezoid, quadrilateral. So rectangles, trapezoids, and squares are all called quadrilaterals because they have 4 sides. And the last one, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Who remembers what a 5-sided shape? Miracle?
Octagon.
This one's actually a pentagon. A little different if you look. A hexagon has 6, a pentagon has 5. So it's just one short. Okay, good job. You guys are remembering.
Is a hexagon a stop sign too?
That's actually called an octagon. Those have 8 sides. Yeah, that's a good searching for polygons though in the real world. Octagons have 8. Kind of like an octopus has 8 legs. All right, so today we're going to see if we can sort some of our polygons. So I drew polygons on my paper here, and I want to see how many of them, which ones have more than 3 sides. More than 3 sides. Does number 1, this is actually called a parallelogram. It's also a quadrilateral. Does it have more than 3 sides? Give me a thumbs up or a thumbs down. More than 3 sides? How many sides are on this shape here? 4. Is 4 bigger than 3? Yeah. So number 1 has more than 3 sides. What about number 4? This triangle here, does that have more than 3 sides? It has exactly 3 sides. Okay. What about number 2? I would call this a rectangle or a quadrilateral. Does this have more? Yeah. What about this one? Holy moly, that's a lot of sides. That has 6 sides. That's a hexagon. Yep, thumbs up more. What about this one? Does it have more than 3 sides? Nope, it has exactly 3 sides. Good. Okay, now this one's tricky. I drew some hard ones here. Fewer than 5 angles. Okay. Does this have less than 5 angles, corners? 1, 2, 3. Is 3 smaller than 5? Yeah. So this one has less than 5 angles. I have another triangle. All triangles are the same, so this one has less than 5. Uh-oh. What about this one? How many sides and how many angles are on this shape for number 2? How many? Yes, Vianice?
6.
6. Is 6 smaller than 5? So this one's too big. It doesn't count. What on earth shape did I draw here? How many sides are here for this number 6? How many sides?
4.
Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is actually a pentagon. This is a funny looking pentagon because this is also a pentagon. All I did was I pushed, imagine this is a house, I pushed the roof down. So now it looks like this one. Are pentagons, if they have 5 sides and 5 angles, does it have less than 5 or exactly 5? Exactly 5, right. Okay, good. Can anybody tell me what number shape has 5 sides? Which number has 5 sides? There's 2 of them. Yes, Vianice, what's one of them?
The one that looks like a house.
Number 5, yeah, that one has 5 sides. Is there any more that have 5 sides? Which other one has 5 sides? What's the other pentagon?
The 6.
Yeah, 5 and 6 are both pentagons. Which one in these pictures has more than 3 angles? More than 3 corners? There might be more than one, but you pick one.
Number 2.
Number 2 does. Yep. Gemma?
Number 1.
Does it have more than 3 angles or exactly 3 angles?
Exactly.
Exactly 3 angles. You're right. And 3, don't forget our little square up here. That has more than 3. It has 4 angles. Okay. Can anybody...
5.
Yeah, and 5 and 6, really. Can anybody tell me what shape has fewer than 4 angles? Fewer than 4? There's 2 of them. Yes, Vianice?
3.
Number 3. It has exactly 4. Any of them have less than 4? Which ones have less than 4 angles?
Number 1.
Number 1, Gemma, can you find another one? Which one looks like 1? Yeah, and the triangles, they have less than 4 angles. You guys are so good at this. So when we talk about if things are more than or fewer than, we don't want them if they're equal to. We want to count up the sides and see which one has more or which one has less. You guys did good with that, okay? So this morning, I sent your parents a video on how to get onto the Google Classroom. So if you haven't been on yet, I want to make sure you guys know to check out that video so you can see all of the lessons from Mrs. Altieri, Mr. Moore, Mrs. Monahan, and Mrs. Sousa, because they are showing some really, really neat activities. You just have to pick on the grade 2-3. We're in the grade 2-3 section, and they have so many cool activities every week for the different continents. For us, I put up our journal every week. So raise your hand if you've done any of the journals yet. Okay. Raise your hand if you've listened to any of my books about Diggery-Doo. You see him on YouTube? Okay, so all of those videos are on YouTube and you can watch them. They're super, super fun. And I wanna make sure you guys can get onto that Google Classroom so you can see where I put all the videos all the time, okay? Any questions for today? What do we need for tomorrow's lesson? What should we have with us? Cheetah book? Yeah, what else? Yes, Vinny's?
The rock.
You want your rocks, you want a paintbrush, you want a cup of water, and your paints, okay? So we want to have all of those things tomorrow. Yes, Viennese?
What Google Classroom do we go? The one that has the picture or the one that doesn't have the picture?
The one that has the picture of me. Did you see the one with me on the beach? Okay, that's the one, yep. If you go on to the other one, you'll see the Bitmojis for all the specialist teachers. You can go on that one too. But some of you might still have your old Google Classroom from like Mrs. Edwards or from Mrs. Price. So you don't need to go on to those anymore. You can go on to mine and the specialist one, okay? All right, sounds good, guys. I'm so glad you came out today, and we'll see you tomorrow at noon. Bye, guys.